Before we can route the spot for the three-way pickup switch, we're going to have to actually make a template for it. For both the pickguard and the body, that way we know that it'll fit exactly where we need it. To start off, we actually need to make a pickguard template, route the spot where we're going to have the three-way selector switch. Then, on a second piece of MDF board, we copy over the template of the first pickguard template, and use that one to mark out the surrounding spot to where we're going to have the route for the switch. That way, we know that when we put the switch on the pickguard, it'll match up perfectly center with the hole that we've made for it. But first, we actually need to make the pickguard template. And what material do we use for that? MDF board, of course. It already started. Okay, so I did already draw out the template, but that's neither here nor there. First, I'll make sure to mark out the spot for where I'm going to put my switch on the new pickguard. I had an extra pickguard lying around with the right sized holes for my switch, so I just transferred them over to the new pickguard. Easy as that. Now we'll cut the new pickguard template out of the rest of the MDF board with a simple jigsaw like this. Oh, you don't have a blade for it. Well then, if you don't have blades for your jigsaw, the next step is to go buy some. This step is rather tedious and annoying because you were incredibly sure you were prepared for this, only to need to make another trip to the hardware store and burn more daylight you could be using productively, but no! Someone had to put this on their I'll get to it list and lose it in the washing machine. Okay, so now that you have your blades, you just simply reverse your way back home, and there we are. Now we can cut the template from the larger piece of MDF and cut a similar size piece from the same sheet. When we finish the pickguard template, we can transfer the cut to the second piece of MDF using a flush trim bit on the plunge router and have two separate pickguard templates, one for the main pickguard and the other for our switch route. Here I'm drilling the template to a second slab of wood I had lying around. I'll use a couple of large wood screws to secure it to the slab so I have something to keep the template in place as I cut. I'll use the jigsaw to cut the template's shape. I prefer to use a bandsaw, but I'm not quite equipped with that sort of machinery yet. I didn't have access to the one I usually use anyways. That and a drill press are two big things I'm looking forward to obtaining in the future to make jobs like this much easier. Plus, I'm not exactly comfortable with the idea of using my foot as a counterweight to keep the template in place. It makes things much more dangerous than they need to be. Plus, in this manner, I can't exactly get the most accurate cut. Of course, I'm going to be going over this with a router, so I don't need the super accurate cut, but it would be nice to have. Since I was already drilling things and had a small metal base plate and a scrap of MDF left over, I took the opportunity to widen the first hole in the control plate. It went from a 5/16 inch hole to the needed 3/8 inch hole to accommodate the new volume pot. A drill press is most definitely recommended for a job like this, but I was actually quite happy with the result that I got. Unfortunately, since my router table's mounting holes did not fit the mounting holes on my router, I had to improvise. I used a clamp to hold the template in place and routed the edges closer to the lines I drew out. When doing this, you don't need to be 100% accurate on the line, just outside of it. The rest will be filed off and sanded to the shape that we're looking for. I'm also choosing to skip on routing the neck pocket and the pickup holes until we've mounted this template to the body. Then we'll know that we have the most accurate cut needed. I will, however, do the slot for the control plate. This is to ensure that when I attach the plate onto the body, the pickguard template will be lined up to where I need it on the body before I route the holes for the neck pocket and pickup cavities. Well, so that's the pickguard template, mostly sanded down. I had a couple of bad run-ins here, getting some of the larger chunks out, but overall, it seems to be doing good. Leaving the neck pocket area and the routes for the bridge pickup and neck pickup alone, so that I know that I have an accurate fit for when I transfer it over to the actual pickguard material. So I'll likely either do it on this and make sure all the routes are matched up, or I'm just going to leave all this alone, make the pickguard using this, and then cut it to fit it when I get the pickguard on the body, which I think is probably going to be the more likely situation because it's a lot easier to work with. I don't have to worry about trying to drill this to the body, and I think it'll work out a lot better. Just need to make sure that I get all these correct, and Then I can drill some holes to mount the pickguard onto this. That should be it for today's video. I will not bother you with the sanding because that'd make for a really boring video. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this cleaned up, and we'll call this episode 1. Oh, also, before we close, I went ahead and, as you've seen earlier in the video, drilled the proper size hole for the control plate. So once I get the cavity switch routed, I can technically start wiring. Even though wiring this, not that big of a deal. Probably wiring this with the wire to the pickup switch, then the output jack as well. Get that out of the way. But for now, it's really dirty in here. I'm tired. I want to get this cleaned up, and I'll do some sanding later. And next video, we'll work out that route for the pickup cavity.